back this afternoon with our Red Cup, I don't think that's what it is it? No. With our Red Cup District meetings. I want to thank everybody again who's been participating. This is our third meeting to discuss how we can potentially bring a Red Cup District into Columbus. We've been hearing from folks primarily in the downtown area, because that's where we've been focused in the first two meetings, about how we can make this work in the area, about working with different business leaders. We've got Chief Daughtry here, who's been talking about how we'll be able to monitor it, what will be necessary to make sure that it remains a safe and productive program for the city. We've talked about a lot of other cities in the state who have them and have been doing them successfully for quite some time. And we've also talked about what it would look like potentially in other areas of the city as well, besides the downtown. So today, at first, let's talk about, is there anything left to discuss on the downtown Red Cup District before we talk about the potentials of others? Is there anything that, yes?
Can I just say something?
Sure.
Please, representing our Main Street District, I just wanted to reiterate that when I first came before the council, which was several weeks ago, I don't remember 3 or 4 council meetings, I was authorized by my board to represent our downtown area. I know that area very well, and I'm very comfortable with that area, having the Go Cup District in that area. We had spoken with many other downtown areas. I had emails and various information from the downtown areas, and they had all spoken specifically to their downtown district areas. So that's what we initially came with, and I just wanted to kind of put that on the record, please.
Mm-hmm.
But that was what we were discussing all along.
Anybody else, any comments on the first district that we've been working on?
Last time, I believe there was a discussion about whether we really wanted to go with the Purple Cup since it's alcohol and that might be offensive to Falcon color.
Yeah, we had gotten some calls about concern about the Purple Cup sending a wrong message to, since that's the high school and
I don't think the color really matter what color it is.
So we can do green, I think. We stayed away from red because you can't paint the side of the roads red, being emergency colors. I don't think you're allowed to do yellow or even blue.
I think Huntsville, they paint green, so I think it might be green for them also. I'm not sure. I think they may be green.
Yeah. And I mean, I see the
green or blue. Or
I see the concerns of the purple, but I mean, I don't think that's a deal breaker on anything, but coming up with a certain color.
The other thing was the statute says we have to have a geo-referenced map as opposed to some other kind. I didn't realize that's a term of art in engineering parlance, so
Yeah.
Kevin's working on that.
And that's not going to be difficult to pull together. He's already working on
No,
it.
I think he's probably mostly finished with it.
Okay. So are there any other comments on that particular, and can somebody tell us, Jeff, can you tell us the exact boundaries on that one more time?
No.
No.
We have a good map that Ryan put together, but I didn't bring it to the.
But it basically is, oh, here it is, yeah.
That's our hand scratch when you know it works.
Starts down near Harvey's, goes across into Riverside Park, up past Munson's to include a little corner of the soccer complex where you have Sounds of Summer, up to Zachary's in that block, and then down
Fifth,
all the way toward the Princess.
which would take in the Arts Council, and then the next block, which would have Zachary's and who? Munson. You're down there.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Zachary's. I'm sorry. I'm talking about
Hucks.
Hucks. I'm sorry. I was going the wrong direction.
Hucks all the way to the Princess.
All the way to the
Exactly
Princess.
right there.
And then take in Javers Arts.
Mm-hmm.
And so would it end right there up the street before you cross over towards the Light and Water? Would it end on that block?
Yeah, there was a church right there that we're trying to avoid. So it ends right there at the block of where.
And there's no more restaurants going south anyways.
Right.
Yeah, we made a real effort to avoid neighborhoods, churches and things like that, just to try to be considerate
Playgrounds,
of
school
them.
systems.
Yeah.
And a reminder to everybody is that if this is approved, the bars and restaurants in those will have, something wrong? Separate cups, but they cannot take them they can take them into shopping into different stores if those shops have agreed to it, but you can't take it into another bar or restaurant. You have to
Correct.
finish it and then get another cup.
Correct.
Correct.
And we talked about special trash cans too, didn't we?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
And they can't go into that, correct me if I'm wrong, they can't, once they walk out, they can't go
Yeah, they
back
can't
into
go
that
back
bar
into
with that cup.
establishment either.
Yeah, you can't even go back into it with that cup.
You gotta finish it.
Okay. Mr. Haslam?
Mayor, last time we talked about different hours. Has the committee come to a recommendation on the days and hours? Did we agree to page 4, section 5?
It was every day of the week
Yeah.
from 10 to 10. Was that even Sunday?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And has the committee recommended that to the council?
Well,
or-
I think that's the
It
last.
hasn't been recommended to the council, and I think you objected to 10 to 10.
And every day too. You just wanted the weekend. didn't you?
Yeah. But if the committee has concluded that this is what we're recommending, that's what I want to know.
I think the reason it hadn't been submitted to the council is the committee's meeting again, hopefully for the final time.
Okay?
And even if it's the consensus, we can still let them know that they were members of the committee who were concerned and wanted just the weekend.
Okay.
And you're welcome to come and speak to.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Anything else?
Well, I did like that we did add the sections, the violations with the fees. If you violated what the amount would be, you would pay the first offense. That was added.
Oh,
Yeah, I kind of made some of that up, because I didn't have a whole lot of guidance from the committee, but
You
I
want
thought
to read it out loud?
I thought there should be a first offense, second offense, third offense.
Back to the hours, though, I want to, Mr. George, other than just the weekend, what would satisfy you?
Yeah, I said Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
I'm just saying, like, if it was every day, though, would a different hour satisfy you, or?
I think my preference was for 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday would be my vote. That's what I want to understand.
Okay, but I'm just saying, like, a compromise, if it's every day with different hours through the week, would that satisfy you? Like, if it started at, 4 o'clock through the week,
Yeah, the later the better, in my
4 to
opinion.
10?
Yeah, 4 to 10, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Well, I mean, like, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, would that satisfy you other than in the morning?
So what he's saying is
Yeah.
on Monday
Yeah.
through Thursday, 4 to 10,
Shorter
and on
hours.
the weekends, 10 to 10.
Right.
Well, if
I
we-
think my overall view would be that weekdays would not be good, so.
Well, now, originally.
I'd sure rather have that than full hours, yeah.
We were saying, the very first time we talked about it on the weekends, we had it like from late in the afternoon till 10, right?
Yeah.
Like 4 in the afternoon.
Yeah, that was the start.
4 till 11. That, when you were talking to me, I thought that's what you were more interested in, but now you're okay with 11 a.m.?
No, I favor as I say, the later the better.
Okay.
And the weekend days, but I, of course, yield to the general will of the committee, and that's what I wanted to understand.
And so y'all's rationale for coming back when y'all had your subcommittee meeting with 10 to 10 was just to be consistent and easier to,
Consistent,
Yeah.
easier. Zachary's, a lot of these places do fundraisers on Sundays. We used to have noon tunes, if we start another program like that, you'd be able to do beverages there. Market Street starts at 10:30, a lot of festivals will start at 10:30. Just makes it a lot easier if it's 10 to 10, because that's when events are happening. And, the other ordinance had it ending at 11 p.m., we pulled that back to 10 p.m., knowing that there's a lot of residents and stuff in the downtown area, we didn't want people congregating, people awake. But 10 to 10 stays there, so you don't have to check what day of the week, and the general public doesn't get confused.
That is true.
So
It's simpler.
So if, let's say Market Street, So if Market Street is gone, we know that's happening next year. If this area is considered the Red Cup District or whatever color cup we call it, would they need to apply for that permit again?
Yes.
I know the permit for the blocking of the streets and everything, but would they have to apply for the alcohol permit as well?
Well, because they sell the beer out there also, so they have to apply to sell the beer.
Okay.
Not the restaurants, but they would have to, Market Street would have to apply to sell beer on the streets out here.
Plus, the Market Street goes on beyond 10 o'clock at night too, I believe, so it'd be I think they would still have to apply.
Okay.
Do we currently let people drink past 10 near Market Street?
No, they shut Market, well, this is my first year, they shut it down by about 6 o'clock. It was done.
Saturday, we close at 5. It's 9 to 5.
But Friday,
Friday
it's
evening, it's usually 10:30.
10:30.
Yeah.
Because this right
And
here,
we do
they
get
just for
different,
restaurants.
we sell it
This is
ourselves,
for
so we do
them
that.
selling everything.
Yeah, but what would probably happen is that I would think that you would have to request to be able to sell beer,
Right.
but the Red Cup walking thing would be in place and everybody has to stop at 10. That would just be the
Right.
cutoff, or still walking around your
Well,
house.
the walking thing, the only time we sell past 10 with the soccer complex, this does not even include the soccer complex, isn't that correct? Down here
Corner of
where we
it.
are, doesn't it?
Where you are, it does include. where you
Oh, it
all
does
set.
include that one
It does
time, I'm
include
sorry,
that area.
I'm sorry.
It stops before you get to the playground,
I got you.
Crown Park.
Yeah. That's on the geo map that
Yeah.
floated around.
Is that all, so everybody's clear on that?
So we would need to stop on Friday evening at 10.
Not during the Market
Still
Street,
10:30.
though. No, not during, because you would get a permit, yeah, you would get a permit to,
Okay, okay.
for that, so it wouldn't
But
be.
if you pull the permit, it needs to say the times. in it.
Right.
Right.
But I thought one of the reasons y'all were trying to get this was so that you didn't have to come back for moving around with the alcohol.
Ideally, that's one of the main reasons, so we don't have to keep pulling permits every single time to be able to do different things. But she's selling it in the middle of the road.
Right.
So they gotta pull
They
the
would have to
permit.
do that anyway.
I just want a clarification on that part.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm gonna pull it.
So I agree with your idea of going over the penalties, because the board said they wanted us to have a misdemeanor penalty, and then I just made up these first, second, third.
Can you hear him, Chief?
Yes.
First offense was $300, second offense $600, third offense $1,000, and that's for an individual violating the ordinance. And then there's a first, second, and third offense for the actual business enterprise. And I don't know why I did it, but I said first offense $350, second offense within 6 months $700, third offense within 6 months. Because I'm figuring the business may have a harder time controlling somebody sneaking out with a cup. They might have a changeover in management, and it might not be fair to hit them for a second offense when they hadn't had an offense in over a year and a half or so.
Well,
But you can, it's for discussion.
my only question is also for that, to show these businesses, because some businesses, when they start making, when the traffic starts coming, they want to make their money, they might not have the concern and try to let the little things slide. Is there anything we can put in here on third offense that you lose the right for however period to even participate in the cup?
Sure.
Now, I can say, my business is a little different than most, where most people have somebody sitting up front and a host or somebody who can say, you can't bring that purple cup in here. And I can post signs, but I've got an open area in which people walk in and out freely. I can regulate whether or not a purple cup ends up inside my building. And if anybody walks into my place with a purple cup, and so that means that if they want a refill, I'm gonna have to sell them one, but I won't be able to control whether people are in the outside garden area if I never see them.
Well, I
So I would hate
think
to-
inside,
But your outside garden area is almost like a patio.
It is.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Okay, all right, well, I just want to make sure as
Yeah,
we're
that's
talking on
patio.
the premise, that is my premise and it is fenced in. But if somebody I can't control if we're really busy, if somebody's sitting out there with a purple cup. I can definitely make sure that they do not enter the premise inside to get a refill with the purple cup.
That's almost like, because I think, I don't know if it was the mayor or Jeff talked about Harvey's, that seating area right outside, they ran in and came out and sitting out there. Then the hostess would have to catch them coming in and out. And now, it might have been you, Councilman, if you go ahead and buy one drink, the limit of walking out with them. So, yeah, I think so.
But that still could be an issue though, Brian, in the garden. I mean, if somebody's in there with a cup that they didn't purchase from you, they're not supposed to be. So I think you're gonna have to monitor it somehow.
Well, I see what you're saying, yeah, I see
Yeah, I
what
mean,
you're
if
saying.
they're just walking in.
So if you
know,
buy one at Hooks, and you
Yeah.
use Hooks as an example, you walk down there to grab some pizza, and you go down there and you walk in,
And cause y'all serve out there too, right?
No.
If you go inside now.
Well, I think it's really just going inside the establishment, because if I'm
Yeah.
walking up from another restaurant and you tell me I gotta drink it before I enter, then where else I'm gonna drink it? I'm gonna drink it outside. So,
But like I
so
said,
I
they
think it's
will-
really just the inside of the place, you know, not the
they're gonna
outside.
finish
They
it,
make it a
they
little harder
come
to
in,
catch
we won't
it.
let them inside to get another beverage with that beverage in there.
I think you're gonna need to monitor it some though, because I can see getting complaints from other, restaurants and stuff, that people are piled up in, on the side there drinking out of cups from other places.
Sure.
It's gotta be something, we gotta have some kind of
But,
monitoring.
you know, I mean, that's,
Because I mean,
that is also the idea that if somebody is having a drink and they're going to another restaurant, they're gonna sit outside that restaurant and finish your drink before they go inside. That would be the same circumstance, we're gonna have to do it inside my garden, or they do it across the street waiting. They're going to finish the beverage before they enter the premise, so that's, it's the same.
yeah,
It's the same.
okay, yeah.
So do we agree that I'm gonna add some language that the third offense for a business in the discretion of the municipal court judge, they could have their red cup privileges revoked?
Yeah. How would you, what would you do to just put it on their record? And then if they got stopped, you call it in and they've been revoked, that's how you know?
as far as the business,
As far as the individual,
And
if their privileges have been revoked, how are you gonna know that?
you talking about the business or the person?
you
I don't
know,
think you can.
Well, I mean, the person,
Yeah.
if they've been convicted once, then when they get, if they get another citation, then it'll show, it'll be their second. And is that what you're asking? I'm sorry, I must.
You know, so.
Yeah, you asked if the person, the fines, I guess you didn't think the fines were enough, and if somebody might be by the third time, they needed to have their privileges revoked.
I was talking about the business. I wasn't talking about the person.
that's what I thought he was talking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, how would the,
So what I said is the manager of the licensed permittee is who would be ticketed in the event of a violation, because you can't ticket a
Well, now-
LLC.
now also, I just started thinking about what Ryan said. Now, Ryan, you can also just go in Ryan's place and shop. So they should be able to walk inside his business with it too then.
But not with a cup.
Not really,
You
because
know,
it's
to go
sales.
to another place, because I sell it, so that's gonna permit me, if I'm gonna be a seller of it, then that would eliminate me, I think.
I see what you're saying, but a retail downtown that's not selling is illegal. Is that what you're saying, Mark?
Yeah, I think that if you're a retail place and you don't sell alcohol to go,
Right.
then.
But Ryan, if they do that, no, they just have to go inside to order the pizza. They can't order the pizza from the backside. They have to come inside to order, correct?
I mean, you can order a pizza online if you wanted to.
I know, but you can't order it outside, and you have to go inside and do it.
You gotta go inside.
Okay, because that would affect them being able to come into your garden if they were drinking and then being able to order food, right?
Yeah, I think the main thing we wanna permit is, we just wanna make sure that if they get another beverage and they wanna go walking, that they have to get a brand new beverage, so that somebody's there to see how intoxicated that person is, and they can make the judgment call whether or not they need to be walking around and drinking. I think that was the purpose, to have them throw it away before they enter into another building. And it promotes them purchasing a new cup from a new business that's
Yeah.
in town. So whether or not they order a pizza to go and go around and have their own to-go cup and eat their dinner.
But if they ordered on the inside, they would not be able to come in with their cup.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
that should
So it
negate
would eliminate
that.
that.
That's what I'm trying to say.
But I will say with this penalizing the business on the purple cups, I understand if you walk in and see a bunch of purple cups inside, but you know, you have an open container law that is not on the businesses. You know, if somebody has an open container right
Mhm.
now and they walk out to the street, all that liability is on the patron who decided to walk out into the street with an open container, because it's kind of hard when businesses are going downtown to regulate who is staying inside. You can create the parameters, you can say the language, but you can't always control who's walking in and out. So it's on a busy night, New Year's or something, and somebody decides to walk into a place and you're gonna pop that business on it. that's a pretty brutal law. Whereas if you're gonna give them both a ticket, it's also pretty brutal. I see it, like I said, the normal open container law is on the patron themselves. And if we explain that clearly, I feel like that's what the law should be on. I think it should be on the patron not to bring that stuff in.
Well,
I thought that's what that was. What are you talking, that's on the,
I got it both ways for the patron and the business.
I was just hearing it from the
Because
patient
if the
side.
business proprietor is just letting people come in, and the statute says, the ordinance says they can't bring in a container, and they're letting anybody come in and go out and come back in, then at some point, the business owner has to be responsible too.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But the business, if we're gonna do this, the business has a certain level of responsibility. And whether it's additional manpower or whatever, they're gonna have to take and follow the guidelines as well. I mean, I'm just kind of
Yeah, I agree.
on that, you know, I mean, I think we're gonna have to hold people accountable. And we're gonna have to be professional about what we do and let them know that, because some businesses, when they start making money, they start forgetting about and start cutting short. And I just don't want nobody cut short and we start having a problem.
Well, that was my concern about you, Ryan, because I can see if there's a ton of people with different colored cups sitting in your garden, that's gonna start causing people to ask questions. It almost seems like for you, that you would prefer people finish it outside, come inside, get their cup, and then go to your garden.
We will definitely be putting that in policy, but I wanna make sure that I'm not gonna get in trouble if somebody sneaks into my, like walks into my garden to finish it.
I'm gonna say 9 times out of 10, you're not gonna get a ticket if there's not any other crap going on.
I'm
Yeah.
not interested in people coming into my business with a purple cup, because it doesn't do me any good if they're drinking somebody else's beverage. That's not in my best interest to let a bunch of people with other.
That's why you don't need them sitting in your garden.
So I'm not all for it, but with the same token that, when we have our Oktoberfest and somebody walks
Yeah.
down, or you have New Year's and somebody walks down, and they're in the garden and we've got a full staff and we're busy, will we be able to run out there and check and survey for?
I don't think you, I doubt you have a lot of people doing it, but I think I would try to find a way to discourage it.
We're gonna put up signs and we're gonna tell people they can't bring them in now, and I think most people will get it, but just those one or two, I don't wanna lose my license or get in trouble because.
Well, how many does it
somebody's
take to
sitting
get in
outside.
trouble? How many violations?
Well, the first violation is $350, then if you do it again in a 6-month period, then it's $700. If you do it a third time in 6 months, it's $1,000.
So, I mean, how would you, I mean, I don't think the police are gonna be walking around looking in people's gardens saying, oh, that's the wrong color cup, right?
No.
I think it's gonna happen if there's some kind of trouble issue comes up.
I'm
And I don't think you have a
not-
lot of rowdy people in your garden.
No, I haven't get that, not gonna work.
It's, I mean, there are children out there, I mean, it's a good
Yeah.
place, yeah. I think that's the thing, nobody's gonna be monitoring saying, you know, get your purple cup out of that garden, you know?
Well, like I said, I don't think it's gonna matter outside anyway. I mean, I think it's really about taking it inside, I mean, whether it's his garden or not, because they still walk from Hulk to the.
Yeah, but
to
it's
your
like,
garden.
but you know, escaping
Right.
that garden is thought of as part of his place. I mean, it's not like a separate garden from his store.
But
It's
here's
part
the
of his-
example, is
But
if you're
even
at
outside
Zachary's,
of Hulk, though,
you're at Zachary's or Huck's,
Right.
you've got a 30-minute wait.
Right.
Somebody might wanna get a purple cup to go and sit there and enjoy a beverage while they're waiting to.
Right,
Sure.
exactly, and that was
So
the
now
whole
they're
point of
sitting
doing
in
it.
the property, in the
Right.
parking lot,
But-
in the whatever, which is exactly what my garden is to my.
It's for,
place.
right, exactly.
And so, I will tell people not to bring it in.
Wait a
but I
minute,
don't
your
want
garden is the same as somebody waiting outside to go eat in another restaurant? Your garden
It's
is
a
where you want to hang
patio-
out.
But it's a patio area, it's an
Right.
outdoor sitting area, and where
Okay.
people might be waiting to go inside. It's no different than having somebody sit outside of.
I see it as an extension of the inside of your business.
But it's not,
Okay,
it's not.
okay, okay, gotcha.
But, like I said, I'm still gonna be anti people bringing cups into that garden, because it doesn't do me any good to have people bring outside beverages there, but if they certainly want another one, they're definitely not gonna bring it inside my place.
All right, any other discussion on that?
And I think with the individuals, instead of, finding them if they breaking the rules, then you just, I mean, the police, in most cases, if they have an open container, you just make them pull it out, if it's not,
If it's not unruly,
yeah. you know, instead of ticketing everybody for, you know, if I'm walking around with a cup that ain't, you know, the right thing, then, you know, the thing is to pull it out. And then now they can go buy one in the right thing instead of finding them for, you know.
Which is why having the special trash can close
Right.
is
Exactly.
important.
But I will reiterate, I've just had a friend come back from Huntsville and he was telling me how little problems this thing
Right,
actually
exactly,
causes.
exactly.
We're getting very, very nitpicky. 'cause
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, I think we just make
the
it.
likelihood of major incidences happening are very low. There's these Huntsville.
Right, but you understand why we have to have these discussions, though, as we move into something like
I understand we have to, I
Yeah.
just, I do want to I don't believe that we're gonna be dealing with a lot of this.
Well, I don't think so either, but we need to discuss it all thoroughly.
Sure.
How far is Huntsville from here?
Too far for you to go
Three-
today.
About three, about 3.5 hours, something like, 3 hours, something like that.
I'll reach out to that chief.
Well, y'all didn't have any major issues in Natchez, did you?
I don't think it's gonna be any major issues.
We didn't have nothing when we had big festivals either. I mean, we really did. Like the balloon race and
Yeah.
stuff like that, we didn't have.
Well, y'all are with elected officials who are responsible for this in the end. If it goes awry, we're the ones that get the calls.
Well, me too, because my name is, my
Yeah,
request
but
to
you don't
this
have elected
ordinance.
authority.
Mr.
I
George?
understand that,
Yeah.
Yes.
Has the chief had any tactical discussions with his staff about this yet? About policing it or
What do you mean?
training for? Have you talked about it within the police department on how to enforce the ordinance?
Well, we can't because we don't have an ordinance yet.
Okay,
You know, once we get it, then we'll be able to visit it and,
Yeah, all right.
and I agree with Councilman and that, you know, hey, wrong cup, you're going to jail, or hey, you're getting a ticket, you know, I mean, but we're gonna have to be, we're gonna have to make sure that everybody understands the ordinance. And you're gonna have some people and some businesses, I keep
Yeah.
hearing you, you know, from a business perspective, but some business owners are gonna try to push the envelope, and we're gonna have to show them, what the ordinance says and is what it means.
Yeah.
You know, and we're not trying to be, downers and cancel the party or anything, but if we don't get control of it, then it'll get out of control.
Well,
And
that
then,
is
then
especially-
everybody will be looking at me.
Yeah, right, and us. And, you know, and we've gotten 2 roses in the paper about how smoothly this committee has been running. So this is not anything negative on anybody, but these are issues that it's more important to talk through them now than have to come back at another time when, you know.
Absolutely.
And you know, I think possibly whenever the ordinance is passed, if it is, we should have a meeting of everyone who wants to participate. Restaurateurs, not just expect them to read the ordinance and understand it, maybe try to have a meeting to go over all these things.
that would be, yeah.
Give it to them,
With-
and then they cannot come back and say, we did not know that,
Right.
Yeah.
we did not
If it's passed,
understand
it
that.
doesn't go into effect for 30 days thereafter, so that.
So that gives us time, and I would think, you know, stores, there may be some stores that are open for shopping that don't necessarily
That's
want
right, and
it
they
coming
certainly-
in, and they need to be able to say,
Well, we'll make them a sign that
yes.
says, no alcoholic beverages, or whatever, a nice thing, if there are those that do not want to do so, absolutely. We want to work with everybody, best we can.
Okay, so anything more on this part of the downtown, because we got Mr. Kabir here who wants to talk to us about the Seventh Avenue area, the possibility to consider for a Red Cup district as well. Do you have something that you would like to say at this time about it?
About Seventh Avenue or what you all have been discussing?
Well, either one, either one.
One concern that I'm listening to the area, what you all are talking about, but my concern is, and you all kind of help me out, and maybe it's a little fuzzy, but if you're bar hopping and you got to chug it down before you go into another spot, that could cause a problem too. And I think that needs to be taken into consideration. You know, when you talk about you can't bring another cup into another business or just, I don't know how to, I just, when you all were discussing it, I was just saying that could be a real problem if you have a lot of different.
If people are out there chugging beers, yeah, because it does affect your.
Now, when you say red cup, is this just for beer or alcohol? Either, okay. So that's even more of my point. So if I'm going to your spot, I'm leaving your spot, then I'm going to another spot, but before I can go in that spot, before the group can go in there, I gotta chug everything down or throw it away.
Throw it in the trash.
Throw it in the trash can. That could cause a problem.
But here's the other side of that. So I'm a business proprietor and I'm trying to sell beer and alcohol. And here comes a customer with a cup and they wanna bring it in. And I let them bring it in and then they go back out and they go to their car and they fill it up again. They wanna come back in and I'm not selling anything. He's just eating my tater tots, but he's not drinking any of what I'm selling.
Well, I don't have a magic wand to make it work. I just know if all of us are out and we're bar hopping and we're going to visit like you all were yesterday with the Night Out on Crime and y'all were on the move, but before you can go in each one of the facilities, you had to chug down what you had, or that could pose a problem.
Well, you don't
It
have,
didn't propose a problem yesterday. We had some good food.
I'm still feeling the effects of it.
well, so the idea though, if you throw away that cup, if you want another beverage, you're gonna have to order it through as somebody who's either serving or a
Exactly,
bartender.
well,
And so they're gonna have an opportunity to assess whether or not you're intoxicated, whether or not you need another beverage, and because that liability lands on us.
And I think
It goes back to
I think what you're saying, and I hate to say this, but younger people, but it's not the younger people. You got some old ones that just is crazy too.
Oh, yeah.
But like college kids, they come, oh, yeah, let's go over here. They go there, oh, you can't come in. Oh, go and go. So I could see that, but I would say younger. But I mean, we got some older that just think about the same way.
I think though, well, especially downtown here, can't speak for other places, we don't have a lot of bars where they're gonna be actually bar hopping too. You know what I'm saying? This is more mainly for restaurants and, not from going bar to bar. It's just so that you can walk from, if you decide, okay, well, I don't wanna wait here at this restaurant and I'm gonna go ahead and go down here. So I'm just gonna have me a beer while I'm strolling down, or to walk around downtown. So I don't think it's more of a bar kind of.
Yeah, it's supposed to, the idea is it just to be casual dining and drinking and shopping, not,
If you got plenty left, they won't let you in, let's go look at a few shops before we finish our drinks.
Well, I
Or
want
make a
to,
reservation. Can I get on the list?
And then
Yeah, I'm
wait
a-
outside.
I was just listen, just threw it out there to just see, because it's not about today, it's about tomorrow. You don't know what downtown might eventually end up looking, or what area you decide to do this in, because it can spur economic development with the right ordinance, or it can deter economic development with the wrong ordinance or with the wrong policing of it. So that I just put that out there. And you all, again, what you said made sense, and what Councilman Jones said. You don't have a lot of bars now, but going in and out, trying to keep up with everybody, you just never know. So.
that's a good point.
Your implication is that the pressure is gonna be on that person at the front desk of each restaurant to stand up to someone who's coming in with the cup, and that seems to me to be a pressure on them.
And let me be clear, I'm for the red cup issue. I just wanted some clarity in my own mind for that.
And we may have
Just
to
to address
address
that-
that, like in Huntsville, they started off with, 4 o'clock in the evening, or 10 o'clock on the weekend, but now they do it 10 to 10, you know what I'm saying? So it might have to be some adjustments in the ordinance, as we go along. If we get more bars down there, we might have to adjust and say, we wanna change it or something, so it's,
And that's a legitimate concern. I didn't think about it, but when you said it, I was like, wow. I didn't think about that. I mean, you got other cities, and a lot of people look at cities like New Orleans. New Orleans has a totally different flavor because in a 4-block radius, each block might have 5 bars. So it's a different setting than what we have here. I think our idea is to promote foot traffic, and I had a lady tell me at National Night Out that she thought it was a great idea because she can get her husband down here and he can be drinking while she shopping. And I was like, ma'am, I never thought of that.
Yes.
What, does the ordinance allow a business, a non-drinking business, a clothing store, to not permit people to come in with the red cup.
It doesn't
Yeah.
expressly say that, but they're free to control their property.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they can put it, it's just like, you know, somebody that has a legal carry, you know what I'm saying? You can see some signs on one that says no guns in here, you know what I'm saying? So it still allows that owner to say, okay, well, no alcohol.
Yeah.
beverages in there.
Yeah.
But y'all kind of surveyed a lot of the business owners downtown, and they were all favorable, correct?
Okay, did you want to talk about the 7th?
I do. I know you got a 3 o'clock appointment, but look, I appreciate the invite, but here's my thing. Back about 10 years ago, we had a director in town, James Tismanakis, and he had the idea of, he had got in touch with whoever developed Beale Street. They wanted to develop many Beale Streets around the country, and 7th Avenue was one of those spots that he wanted to kind of use as a model. Unfortunately, Mr. Tismanakis left and moved on to Georgia. He was a great executive director of CVB. With that being said, the city at that time worked closely with then Secretary of State Delbert Holzman to create these entertainment districts when I was served on the council. And 7th Avenue is one of those entertainment districts. I've talked to the mayor as well as my Councilman Jones, and asked if 7th Avenue and 15th Street could be included in the Red Cup district, because in our minds, that was one of the reasons why we do the 7th Avenue Festival, is to talk about how 7th Avenue used to be the black entertainment and business district of the African American community, as well as Catfish Alley here in Lowndes County. And in my mind, this will be one way to have something on the books that might spark or help economic development and help promote some of the things that we're doing on the north side of town. We don't have, it's not a lot of businesses there, a lot of things. The city's done a good job of tearing down all the dilapidated houses and buildings that once were on 7th Avenue and 15th Street. But of course, Helen's Kitchen is still there. We've been in business for 35 years. We're not going anywhere. We own all.
Excellent, by the way, yeah, right.
We own that whole side of where our restaurant is located. And then you have another business down there. But I just would like for the committee to, you know, consider putting that block of 7th Avenue and 15th Street, because we do have beer license. We don't sell beer.
I gave it to Jamie with 3 streets from 8th Avenue.
I saw the email, but she had South Side on there, I believe I saw
It should
it.
be north side, but 8th Avenue to 7th Avenue, and then from 7th Avenue back to 14th, and then from 15th to 16th. So that'll be those 3 blocks. And it fits, it's in the entertainment district, so it fits the same criteria. And I even said that we could call it Queen City District.
Sound good.
But, you know, that was just to be added. It'll follow the same criteria as, you know, the downtown with the trash cans, whatever whatever we have in the ordinance, it will follow that same criteria. So it's just left for the council to vote on.
And believe it or not, 35 years in the heyday, even when we were there, we used to have live entertainment at Helen's Outdoor, on the patio, in the back, beer selling. Folks brought their cups and different beverages to, you know, enjoy the live music. So, and there's a lot of things that we could do with this particular ordinance and be creative. But I just want it to be considered as you all make your recommendations with the Red Cup District.
Jamie has it in his own things.
First off, I know some bands that would want to play there, so if you start doing that again, we can get music there, and it'd be fantastic. But I personally feel like that you may want to introduce this ordinance as its own, this district as its own, and vote on it separately from the one that we are putting together. Because first off, we made this very small because we wanted to test it out to see what We want to see exactly if it was going to cause more crime, if it's going to cause problems, to decide whether we're going to whittle it down. The whole time was, let's make it as small as possible, so I cut out, you can see what I did to the original entertainment district map to create its own district. It doesn't really quite make sense to have this district also be this district. If it's going to be a different district, the idea was that anybody else wants to do this thing, because I can't speak for that area. I have my house, I've been on South Side for 12 years, my business is in the middle of downtown, so I can't put my name on something that I don't know anything about. But I think that that area should create its own district, make it the Queen City District, create the ordinance that's gonna work well for that part of the community, and then put that up for city council to vote on. I'm not opposed to them doing it, I just think that it's not the same as tagging it onto this isn't the right thing to do. Is how I look at it.
Any other thoughts on that?
I'm gonna just respectfully disagree with that, because I think your ordinance needs to have the same
It'll be the same.
enforcement, the same hours, the same.
And that's what I was gonna say
Or
as
you
well.
gonna-
You know, I heard, Ms. Bigelow, when she was explicit that she was strictly here for Main Street. And I respect that. But when you all do ordinance, I sit on that side of the table as well, you have to look at the totality
You can't have
of
ordinance
all
for
the
this side of
city.
town and ordinance for this side of town.
Exactly. And I don't know where your district, I don't know anything about your district, so I could use that same argument if that was an argument that I don't know where you live, I don't know anything about your side of town, I don't know anything about that, but 7th Avenue has a impeccable historical record of historical significance in this city. And anything that the city can do to spur economic development or enhance that part of town that has been so neglected for so long, I think it's incumbent on this committee to consider it. I'm not trying to force anything, but it was already in the entertainment district.
Right.
And it's already been a discussion, a 10-year discussion, matter of fact, about improving that area. So it's nothing new or set precedent, and it's already connected, even though your map might not show it, but 7th Avenue is already in that entertainment district that this Red Cup district was drawn out of. So
The state statute says district or districts, so you can have more than one.
Well, I'm gonna say this, honestly, and I'm just be honest with you. At first, when I first heard that you wanted to do it, because Councilman Jones mentioned it to me, I was like, no. I said, because I don't want any neighborhoods, it's gonna create a problem. But sitting here, because I don't know the history of Columbus, so that's the part I don't know. But listening to what you were saying, now it kind of makes sense, but you know what it puts me in the mindset of? Anybody that's been to Jackson, you have downtown, but then you have Fair Street. And Fair Street is a branch off from downtown. And they have those type of things going on Fair Street. So that's pretty much what you're saying. Am I right?
Well, Chief, this is your first year here, but we do a 7th Avenue Heritage Festival, which is an award-winning event, where we were voted one of the top 20 events in the Southeast, where thousands of people come down on 7th Avenue. It used to be a homecoming for people who attended Union Academy. They used to come in the latter part of October, but the weather started getting so bad, we had to move the festival up the first part of October. But the street has so much historical significance to the town and the city, and it's exactly like Fair Street.
Okay.
And if you remember, Fair Street had a economic development plan that really never materialized. What you see is like the beginning of redevelopment of that area.
Right.
And right now, all you have is Johnny T's Briscoes down there that's
A
doing
bunch of
very
broken
well.
promises.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
So, yes, I understand coming in, you might not see it, but I mean, you can't argue about the historical significance of 7th Avenue.
No, it's huge, and I think does have great potential for development there. We've talked about a lot of different possibilities.
I think in the case of both of them, though, we should send out, since it's gonna become an ordinance, if we wanna put it on the next, agenda to be, we should do just like we do with the zoning board. We should send out everything that's within that, so many blocks of it. You send out, something, and if they wanna come in and object, then they can come in and object, if not, then, you know, and that should be for downtown and over there, so.
It's 160 feet.
Yeah, 160 feet within it, and if anybody wants to object either way, then they can come in and say their piece.
Yes, sir.
I agree, Mr. Attorney, it ought to be the exact same ordinance for all geography, but I do go back to the first meeting we had and the mayor's point. I would prefer to go with the downtown zone for some months and let us see how it works, what kind of strain it puts on the chief, what kind of strain it puts on businesses, before we bring in another section of town from anywhere to be considered a red cup district.
But you know,
Smaller is better to begin with, and then expand if we are successful here.
I'm not pushing the issue. I just know it should have been discussed at the first meeting, because you can't continue to just have a segment of town that is left out when there's opportunity there. So whatever the committee decides, I've spoken with the mayor and I've had an in-depth conversation with the councilman. You know, that's fine, but when you start talking about just downtown, there are other areas to consider, especially with an ordinance like this. And you can't look at the right now, you have to look at, again, tomorrow. And we already, you know, Chief, when we spoke at Juneteenth, you were going to a conference. And that's one of the things that I needed to come and talk to you about, because we got to get the streets and logistics worked out for the festival. So, to your point, Mr. Hazard, it should have been discussed what other areas could be considered for this particular district, if any, instead of just limiting it to just downtown. Because again, the map that you all have in front of you was pulled out of that entertainment district.
Yeah, it's
Well,
listed on the
let me say
original
this,
map.
every area was discussed, because the first, not in depth that we have with this one, but the very first time it was brought up, I remember Mr. Mickens asked, okay, if you're gonna do it here, are you gonna do it here, you gonna remember that? And so we had our first meeting and we brought people in and everybody was saying, no, 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 we're not gonna do all those areas. And that's, George keeps referencing that I said, keep it small. The main reason that I said that was because there was a lot of debate on whether even discuss moving forward with it, right? Correct? And so that's when I said, well, maybe we should start smaller, because when we said that, they were talking about, do we take it over the bridge to the amphitheater? Well, there's nothing over there yet. The other question was, does it need to go to, Stephen was concerned about it going into the soccer fields because of the kids. And so that's what I meant on that. Now, as far as his request for that area, I have long said that's an area that could be developed and should be. It could be much like some of the areas that you see in the Delta now, where they're getting tourists in from all over the world. There is a rich, rich history there. And there is a potential to do a lot of over there with the blues and restaurants and stuff. That whole Memphis town area has great marketability. And we need to, when we have these discussions, we need to be very clear and not splice things out from past conversations. He's asking now that we bring this to a group.
Well, I think I originally said it in the first meeting that we started here with downtown, and they presented an area, and nobody really had presented what streets and all that stuff over there. And then we talked after the first meeting, and you presented what you wanted, and then that's when it came back to
Yes, sir.
that right there. Because I was saying originally we go with what's presented to us, and then we'll look at this area later. And I think I even told you that, you know, and then you say, okay, well, I want to present this area. And once it's presented, then, okay, we presented the whole thing.
And that's the same thing you and I talked about. I said, you need to come to a committee meeting and just bring it
Just
up.
to reiterate what I said speak for, I walked up and down downtown and talked to everybody, so I felt like I was speaking for downtown, because that's, we were keeping the area small. And I drew up the little map to keep it as small as possible in hopes that it gets passed, because I didn't want to get pushed back for having too big of an area.
And like I said, all of it falls within the same entertainment district, so you can consider all of it. So.
All right, so are we saying that they would fall under the same ordinance?
Yes.
But should they be voted on separately or all
We voted
together?
on together.
I think all together.
Yeah, we voted on together.
And then if it's a no, you can take them up separately. I mean, yeah, it's an idea.
Okay. I think that's what we were getting at. I'm just trying to make sure everybody's on the same page and all of our communication
Present it
is
to the
clear.
council. and the
Because many
council
times
will
it's
decide
not.
from there. Yeah.
We
I didn't
did,
hear you, Councilman
I said, we
Jones.
present it to the council and the council can figure out how they want to deal with it from there. We
And
just
look,
present
thank
the
you all.
areas.
I know you all been working hard on this. I know it's tedious, and I appreciate you all letting me come to the meeting today.
It's always good to see you.
we do need to,
And just on clear, 8 to 7, 7 to 14, 15 to 16.
Yes.
And we already requested the mapping for that, right?
no, we have not requested, unless Randy did, no. So,
Okay, well, let's go ahead and get that.
This meeting.
can you bump it to Kevin and he'll bump it to Brett Brazier and Brett?
Okay, so we get, that done, the maps done by next week, are we saying we're going on the next council meeting?
Isn't that what you said, Councilman Jones?
I
You'll
mean,
be on the next?
that's fine with me.
Did we decide on the color?
I mean, does that have to be in the thing?
Yeah,
Why?
well, it doesn't have to be, but when.
Why can't you say a designated cup to be determined or something? I mean, why?
Well, then the ordinance will not have what color it's supposed to be. And how will the police know when we cite somebody?
I don't think the cup is gonna be a major issue anyway, but, because they have to have a sticker on, they have to put their sticker on the cup, so I don't think the cup
All right,
is
green.
gonna be a major issue.
Green, everybody
Green.
okay with green?
Under that geo map, Mr. Turner, is the
We're not gonna call it.
downtown boundaries, downtown north, west boundary would run along
Make it
that
blue.
street between the soccer fields and the Crown Park. That would be the boundary. You could,
I can't honestly remember, but it's.
you could come out of a place and walk to the soccer complex with impunity. It's in the district.
Part of it. Where they have.
So you're asking how you're gonna regulate the whole soccer district complex? Is that the question?
No, not really, but just to understand the area where people could go with an alcoholic beverage from Munson or anywhere else in that, what to me is kind of a vulnerable space. But if it's in.
Ryan can probably explain it better, but it's where they have Sounds of Summer in them.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking is, does that complex is included in the putative district?
Up until you get to Crown Park.
To Crown Park is out of the
Crown
district.
Park on, it's not
Yeah,
included.
the dog track and all that, those
Yes.
other fields.
Did they ever get that sign back up at Crown Park?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, any other discussions or
Would be lovely.
things we need to talk about before I depart for my next meeting?
Yeah, I think we're going with green.
Green.
Green
All
color.
right,
And we toyed with the idea of Ryan,
Even in Huntsville, they say
River
start
Bluff
out with
District,
color, but
is
then
that-
they don't really monitor it that
a
way.
decent name,
Did you hear that, Jerry?
River Bluff District, is
What, the river, what?
River Bluff,
River Bluff.
District.
River City
Tennessee.
District.
we have, yeah, River City District,
I like
something
that.
other than Red Cup.
Oh, yeah, we don't wanna call it, we're not gonna call it Green Cup District.
River
That's
Bluff District,
Columbus Leisure and Recreation District.
well, that might be
That's the
clear.
name of the statute.
Good look fun on
Clinical.
t-shirt.
That makes you feel a little sleepy.
Yeah, just too clinical.
River City though.
That makes it sound real old, doesn't it? Leisure suits and walkers and. Okay, the meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Tennessee